So the weirdest thing just happened, like to me, just barely. I was inside going to the bathroom before coming out here to film, and I'm like listening to a podcast, right? And then I start hearing like three very big, like blaring alarms, like dun, 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 but like the high pitched, and I'm not going to do that to your eardrums. So you're welcome. And I'm like, what is that? And I pause the podcast thinking for some weird reason it's in that, and it keeps going. And I'm like, that's a smoke alarm, right? And then so I follow the sound into my kitchen, and that's where the sound is coming from. And then it just stops. Here's the problem. There is no smoke alarm in my kitchen. Don't go off on me. I understand that that is an important thing to have, and we do normally have a smoke alarm in the kitchen, but this is the old kitchen that's currently being converted into my bathroom, and because we're in the middle of construction. And so, yeah, there will be smoke alarms. Actually, we have to put an entire sprinkler system throughout the entire house because we're building it so damn big and whatever. Anyway, there will be appropriate smoke detector things in every room, but at this exact moment during construction, there is no smoke alarm in that room, which is kitchen slash bathroom being converted. And that's weird. Anyway, I looked through the entire house, and I'm like, I sent the kids outside to play in the front yard, like, okay, go. I'm going to check the house. And there's nary a sign of smoke or fire or anything to be found. But also, where even was that sound coming from? I'm like big shook. And so I'm going to be kind of looking over at the house a whole lot just to make sure that we're not on fire while I'm doing this. So I'm going to send you to an intro, and it'll give me an extra minute to, go check the house again real quick. Kids are still outside, by the way. They're just right around the corner now so I can watch them. And I will tell you more about today's soap after I've done so. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 55 of 365 days of soap, year 2, and we are doing a new Marvel-inspired soap thing. And yeah, for today's, we are doing Ant-Man and Wasp mashup. First, I'm already crazily distracted because that was weird. And second, my neighbor is living his best life, and he has his Harley out, and he's getting ready to ride it. So you might be hearing that. And I just waited for like 6 minutes, seeing if he would just ride. And I don't think he's riding away. I think maybe he's tuning it or something. But you know what? People got to live their lives. They got to ride their bikes. So we can just deal with that too. It's all good. Yes. But yeah, for the Ant-Man and Wasp, I don't exactly know why we decided to put this in the line. The Soap Apprentice and I talked about this a lot. We did all these mashups, and we had like 15 really cool options just right off the bat. And then we both sort of went, but we have to do Ant-Man and Wasp. Thank you. We have to do Ant-Man and Wasp because Paul Rudd is amazing. And he's hilarious and awesome, and he's Ant-Man. So we decided to put them in. I could not tell you for the life of me what this bar is scented with at all. Or, hey, they're done. I think he just wanted to tune it up. That's what he was doing with this motorbikel. Cool, live your life. That's awesome. But anyway, I cannot tell you for the life of me what this bar is scented with right now. I know that I put it in the video. I'm just real distracted. There's a lot going on at this exact moment in my world. So let's go to the video. We will talk about it there. And yeah. Okay, it's ant wasp, which is so weird that we even put it in. But first things first, we have botanical orchid and orchard and nectar and tropical plumeria. And that plumeria smells dead ass exactly like whatever plumeria thing that we used to love from Bath and Body Works in like the late 90s, early aughts. It's amazing, for sure. So everything's very, very sweet in this. We've got like an apple orchard and, flowers. And the orchard one actually smells a little stabby. I don't know exactly how to describe that other than stabby. So we're just going to go with stabby. Now, yesterday, So Prentice was doing some angled layers and all that jazz. And I found it very interesting because yet again, so did I. And we did not communicate at all with any of this. Looking for emulsion there. What do you think? Looks pretty good. That's a very, very light emulsion right there. So I would stir it a little bit longer, especially since I am doing layers with all of this. But that would be a very, very light emulsion. Like, that's beautiful. Right there, you know that that is going to become soap no matter what. So that's what we're going to do and roll with that. But yeah, again, the So Prentice and I, we did not talk to each other in the designs of our Marvel bars. We just did them, and they all got cut on, basically the same day. And I found it very interesting how they were all sort of paired up within the pairings, right? That's weird. Super weird. So, yeah. When we were thinking about what ones to put into this mashup series, though, we had like 15 really good options. And we kept putting Ant-Man and Wasp on the list. And I finally said, I'm like, what even... I don't think we should do Ant-Man and Wasp because, there are much cooler pairings, essentially. But then, So Prentice and I were talking, and we both came to the conclusion of, there are cooler pairings, but it's Paul Rudd. And if it's Paul Rudd, then you have to put him in because it's Paul Rudd. And so you had to do it. And also, here's the thing. For the Pym particles, they were very, very important, right? Paul Rudd ended up serving a very important role. And, Wasp and Ant-Man and Wasp and Pyms in general, they all ended up serving a very crucial role in, fixing the world, really. And so, Paul Rudd was definitely sort of comic relief, and the Ant-Man and Wasp movies were, comic relief, but they were building, and they were the setup to something really cool, right? And a very important part of the whole storyline. So I think it makes sense to put them in because, again, without them and the Pym particles and knowing how to travel, we wouldn't have been able to fix Thanos' Thanos snap. Okay, and now on to the pour. And see, I even got the cat's cradle thing out for this one too, just like the So Prentice did yesterday. It's wild. It's that one brain cell thing. We joke that we share one brain cell between the two of us, and therefore all of the information that one of us got when we were using the brain cell gets transferred into, the other person's whatever. You get it. You get it. But with this one, it actually seems that, might be accurate. Might be accurate because it was all cuckoo bananas that we ended up doing weird layers. Now, I didn't really know what to do for Ant-Man and Wasp because whatever. And so ultimately what I decided to do was to make it look like the movie poster from from the Ant-Man and Wasp movie. And so it's like white with red and yellow in the middle and then white on top again. And they're sort of like standing in the middle or whatever. And so that's what I'm going with. I'm going with some swirly swirls with red and yellow in the middle of some white. So that's the reasoning behind all of it, really. But for this, I did want to play with some really cool... I want to play soap dough because I very rarely play with soap dough. The Soapprentice is definitely the person for that. But, you know, I wanted to do the thing. And so I decided to make, using an extruder and really just pieces of silver soap dough, the Pim particles. You know how they're like red in the middle because that's like where the fluid is. And I don't know if the actual like fluid thing is red or if the violet, whatever. It doesn't matter. Not the point. But anyway, red in the middle, and then they have like their little silver shiny things on the ends to like put into a suit or whatever, into its little chamber. And so I thought I would make that out of soap dough. So that's cool. And I wait until you guys see this. It was something else. Wait till you see what I decided to, or what my ultimate Pim particles ended up looking like, because it was a thing for sure. Now, I didn't want to lay this down quite yet on the other side until I had, because I'm very impatient when it comes to layers, right? And I don't wait for them to fully firm up. I just don't do that. And so I held it kind of upright and poured some of the red into the soap mold and then put it on its side to do the next layer, which is a cool way to do it, because then the other layer that you have underneath, it's not super moving around a lot. And this particular one was firm enough to do that and not worry about it, you know, moving at that point. But I was a little nervous about just turning it completely on the other side, because that might have done it. Anyway, that was why I was doing that. And if you have the hand and arm strength to do that, then do that thing. That's fun. It's a nice little, I don't know that I would call it a pro hack, but it's a thing that you can do. So that's fun. Now, I think with this, I probably should have flipped the mold between the red and the yellow. I don't know. I'm forgetting what the cut looks like right now, but I think that's what I decided at the end of it. So, you know, we'll look at it in the cut and check it out, because who knows. But yeah, for the rest of this, we are just going to put the white on top. And again, I really hate waiting for layers to set up, and so I just keep going. In total, this pour was less than 20 minutes long for me, because impatient, that's my middle name. It's not actually. I've given you guys like 5 or 6 middle name jokes, and they're always lame, right? But I'm not a comedian. That's not really how I roll. But none of those middle names are accurate. Just obviously. Anyway, for the scent blend, I actually mixed it into both sections, or all sections, mixed both scents into all sections for the Ant Wasp, because neither discolored. And when we were doing the blind scent tests with Mr. Soap and Clay, I ultimately couldn't really decide, after smelling both of them, and neither could he, which one should be Ant-Man and which one should be Wasp. And so we just mixed them. And so there's that. We do have a little bit of ricing going on, but just in this particular section, I didn't notice any ricing in anything else. Did you guys? I didn't. but it's not, it's very negligible ricing there. It's none problems whatsoever. It's going to be great in the cut for sure. But yeah, no, that's what do you think? If you had the opportunity to make, you know, superhero bars, would you have put ant wasp in this? I'm not. I had to do it. That was, the Ant-Man movies were so funny. It's like that guy that they started the company with, right? And he had the best stories, or ways of telling stories rather, and it was just completely delightful because he would start talking about how, well, this, you know, then this happened, and then that, and then do you remember, like, during the beginning stages of COVID, right? Like, everything was happening. It was not just COVID. The entire world was just on fire, sometimes like quite literally. And he was telling stories to Paul Rudd after he, you know, got out of, you know, prison or whatever. And he's like, so this happened, and then this happened, and then it was, and then Australia was like blah blah, and it was just nuts. And you're listening to all of this laughing, but also completely crying, like, oh God, it's funny, but it's also true and horrifying. And now we have locusts, and now, I mean, do you guys remember? It wasn't just COVID and all of us stuck in our houses. There was something literally going on every single day worldwide that was just insanity. It was wild. Anyway, those are my pin particles, you guys, and I think that looks like a double peen, and that's some kind of something. So I can't unsee it anymore, and so I'm sorry that I made you see it, but there's that. So on to the cut. In between these screens, I actually just asked the soap and kidlets how many breaths I took in that last little bit, and they were like, not many. And I asked them if it was weird if I talk so much, because I super do. And they all said no. So soap and clay kidlets plus friend, so I guess 3 soap and clay kidlets over here. They all think it's fine that I talk a lot. So that's awesome. Not the point. Let's check out this cut. It's going to be interesting. And I think I did decide that... No, I didn't decide that. Let's do the... That's perfect. I should not have flipped that to get the yellow. Although it would have been cool if I had, because there would have been kind of 2 triangle-y things, and that would have been interesting, for sure. But I like this. That's great. And the pin particles on the top, they're pin particles, kinda, ish. It works. The scent is very, as you would expect, very sweet and floral and fruity. All of the things together, which totally makes sense, right? Because Ant-Man and Wasp and bugs and all of the things. They love the sugar. And so that's cool. When I was messing around with just putting a little bit of white into the red and the yellow, it didn't really do anything other than make it look like there are glycerin rivers in that, but there aren't. There's no glycerin rivers. That was just the white that I put into the colors. So won't do that. Just solid colors for the rest. It just made me feel big weird to have such big solid colors in both of these. And this red was actually made out of pigments and some magenta from Brambleberry. So like the brick red from Brambleberry and the magenta, pretty sure. And not the true red from Mad Micah's. So that's cool. See, like, that's just kind of weird. I don't know exactly what I was going for putting the white in, but you know, ultimately it was just weird. But the scents are great. They're very, very strong. The pin particles are awesome. I think it adds some fun and some variety to the entirety of the Marvel series. So, you know, that's cool. But, you know, there's day 55. That is Ant Wasp.
And there they are, Ant Wasp. And yeah, they're cool. Like, it's cool to do the little, like, layered and slants and all of that stuff. They were a ton of fun to make. I just still find it really funny that the pin particles on top, they still look like double peens to me. And, you know, that's fine. It's fine. I guess if I hadn't pointed it out to you, it wouldn't be noticeable. but I can't unsee it at this point, so it is what it is. If you are interested in ant wasp, you can find it at soapandclay.com along with the rest of the Marvel-inspired soaps. When we're done with the series, we're not quite there yet. We're getting there for sure. If you are interested in seeing who else we do and what other mashups we do and how Flaming Candle continues to perform, subscribe to the channel. That would be amazing. Most days are not like this scatterbrained. There's usually always some level of scatterbrained, but whew, today is one of those days. So yeah, subscribe is the point. For those of you who are subscribed, hey, thanks for being okay with this day being a little bit crazier than normal. I appreciate you oh so very much each and every day. I hope you had fun today. I weirdly still oddly did, even though there's kind of... I'm gonna go check on my house. So I'm out of here for today. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.